informational conference call about organized stalking and directed energy weapons torture that our members are experiencing. We may have had legislators there. We're not sure. We were told that there would be some there, but they didn't acknowledge if they were there. But there were some other members of the community that did attend, people that had invited their doctor and family members. Journalists were there. These are the ones that I know of, and there are probably many others. We had about 75, we peaked at about 75 callers at one point. So in that way, the call was successful because one of the main goals of our organization is to educate the public about this issue, because this is very important for the public to be aware that this is happening, because it is affecting so many people that have no idea what is happening to them. Some people, a small percentage of them, find their way to our organization and are very grateful that they are able to understand finally what is happening to them, the harassment, the directed energy torture that they are experiencing. So it's important in that sense to get the public aware of what's happening so that they can then take action, demand action from Congress, because we have spoken to Congress, and they're reluctant to act to get involved in this issue. But if enough people become aware and become active and demand their rights, then they will listen at that point.
If someone has questions, either a target or a non-targeted victim, or, excuse me, sorry about that, Derek. If someone should have questions who is a victim or someone who is not a victim, I'm sorry, Derek. If someone should have a question regarding organized stalking and they wanted to contact you and your organization, how would they do that?
Okay, well, they can go to our website, and that is www.freedomfchs.com, and I'll repeat that. It's www.freedomfchs.com. We do have a voicemail line that people can call and leave a message. That number is 866-310-3110, or they could fax us at 866-433-4170. And those are ways they can contact us.
You mentioned earlier that these weapons can be lethal, although they're often referred to as non-lethal weapons.
Yeah.
How lethal can they be? Can they kill instantly?
I believe that they can if, depending on the type of weapon that is used. But most of our members are that do have like fatal heart attacks and strokes and things like that. Most of the members that do have fatal reactions to the weaponry, it's a slow process. It's a long, slow kill method, and it's a long, torturous method. There are many members that are suffering terribly every day, and depending on how the weapon is used and the intensity of how it's concentrated at the target, some people are suffering excruciating pain every day, and they're having to endure lots of stress on their physical bodies. And it's an incremental deterioration of physical capacity. And some have passed away after a long, torturous process. And it's something that we do not feel that anyone in this country should have to endure.
Or any other country?
Or any other country, because some people, we're working with some people that are outside of our country. The Europeans, for example, have recently formed over there, and they're getting a lot of they're getting more attention than we are here in the U.S. but they're beginning to get numbers now, and they're forming an organization. At first it was just our organization, but now more Europeans are cropping up across the continent, and they are banding together, and they are meeting with officials, and hopefully soon we'll see some positive results from our European targeted individual friends.
I have read that microwave mind control is a practice. Do you feel that these weapons are being used, some sort of mass mind control?
We feel that that is something that they are working towards. As we consider some of the symptoms that people are experiencing, that is the body manipulation, the remote thought manipulation, and the thought monitoring process. There are instances where thoughts are being tampered with, controlled, as well as being monitored. They do try to control events in our lives. So yes, we do feel that this is leading to some type of mass population control. If all the victims were to be found in one particular city, we would get a clearer picture of what exactly is happening. And the most victims that we have in one city is Los Angeles, and I have about 30 or so on my list there. But in most cases, they're pretty scattered. But yes, we do feel that if it's not stopped, that we are looking at some form of mass population control.
Do you think there's victims out there who do not know they're victims and they play into this agenda? I know that a lot of victims do commit suicide. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, there are lots of people that have committed suicide, and some I know of, and most of them I probably are not aware of. So, you know, to get the target to harm himself in some way is the goal. And in one case, a victim was actually told by these harassers that their purpose is to drive people crazy. They do, you know, every day that a person goes out, they are trying to look for ways and find ways to aggravate somebody. And whether it be at home or at work or wherever they're going, there will be somebody there to try to ruin their day. And if this happened one time, once a day, and like months, you know, no one would pay attention. But if someone is experiencing this day after day, 24/7, this type of harassment, you know, it could conceivably drive people crazy, and that's really the intent. And in some cases, we do feel that a person seems to have lost touch with reality, and it's because of the pressure and the intensity of the suffering. And in some cases, they have achieved that.
What action do you think a victim can take to prevent this harassment? Or if they are being harassed, what can they do? Where should they go? What should they do?
Well, I think a very important thing that they can do, first of all, is to connect with others that are experiencing this. One of the most important features of this harassment is isolation. And if they can cut a victim off from his support network, that is family or friends, their job, and activities in the community, if they can isolate the person from other people with the campaigns that they do, the harassment campaigns, then the person would feel helpless and hopeless and in despair to the point of taking his life. But once a person connects with others, the difference can be like night and